Hello everyone, Teeth Coon here, about to partake in another wonderful day of playing Zelda. But, yeah, these are Teeth Tuesdays. Usually we're doing some sort of a stream where we talk about the merits or lack thereof of something along with other people on our stream. But today, we are simply playing a game. Since Psyche isn't feeling well, I'm picking up the torch and helping her out. So, before we start, let's do our shout-outs. I'm gonna shout out to Autumn, Night Owl, Scrubs, Osendono, and Artemis so far. So, I hope you all are having a good night. It's Teeth and a Headless Stella. Yeah, she seems to be sitting up instead of lying down like she usually does. So I've been playing this. I'd already beaten it I guess it was about a month ago. But now we are replaying the game for stream. We'll probably play another Zelda game later on. She'll curl up eventually. Yeah, probably. So, okay, so we're going to start from Booty C's house. Booty C is stands for booty cheeks. And I agree, Osen. It's my second favorite Zelda game ever. After Breath of the Wild, it was my favorite game ever for a long time. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to, go to the last dungeon in the light world. since we've beaten the first two already. You can see by the little gauntlets. Something that I think this game was pretty ahead of its time with is if you look at Link's hands and the color of his clothes, they match the color and appearance of the items you collect. So see how you got these the power mitt or power glove or whatever, his gauntlet changes colors, and I think his shoes do too. Second fave after Majora. Majora is a really good game too. Not in my top 5, mostly because I like pretty much all Zelda games, and there are so many that I like just a little bit more than Majora. Oh gosh. Lord Malice has redeemed Uwu Speak, which I'm not looking forward to. Let me find my phone real quick so I can set a timer. Hey Google. Hey Google. Set timer for 1 minute. So now we're on our way to Death Mountain, the home of the third pendant of power or whatever. I don't know what they're called. No, it's just 1 minute. You have to roll. You have to use the wheel to potentially land on a 5-minute use of the Uwu Speak. I really don't like doing this unless it's to mess with Psyche, because she hates it more than I do. I don't make the rules, I just follow them. Take it up with PsycheSiren if you have an issue with the redemptions. I don't appreciate being compelled to a hack like Adam Sandler. Alright, we're done with that. Alright. Okay, so we're gonna get the bug catching net because for some reason I forgot to get it earlier. Okay, go back to sleep, you toot. Okay, so here we go on our way up the mountain. Come back later, okay? What's going on out there? Hello, Pixie. How are you? Let's see. I guess I'll go to...
Daddy Hunkrat.
Hey, Gil. Thanks for the subscription. Almost a year. It's quite a time. Quite a long while. First things first, I will. And by the way, tell Swampy I said happy birthday. I was eating, so I didn't have much time to do so. So give her a holler unless she comes to stream herself. I will tell her myself. So. Oh, balls. Okay, so what we're probably going to do is, first things first, get the Zora's flippers, because with those I can swim, and swimming is such an important thing in this game. The ability to swim allows you to teleport to certain places through whirlpools. I think you can get it once you get the power mitt, or power glove. I think you can. Get out of here. Okay. Fart on my balls. Okay, so here we go to the land of milk and honey, otherwise known as Zora's Waterfall. So, yeah, but something that, the thing I think is so timeless about this game is, I think the look is timeless, sure, but the thing that really sells the game for me is just the attention to detail and everything. Every short of Link's footsteps, pretty much everything in the game makes a sound. And it's very distinctive, it's well mixed. The music is iconic. I just love this game. They did a much better job of creating unique and themed dungeons, whereas in previous Zelda games they hadn't really embraced that fully. Okay, so I need to get a lot of money before I go to visit Zora Bro. I don't want a bomb. I want a money. Go give me bombs. Okay, so I need some money. Like, just the sound of him walking through water. The fact that as you walk... Yeah, I'm bad. But as you walk, there's like little ripples of water around his feet. There's just a lot of attention to detail in this game. Oh gosh. Well, that's the first time I've died in this playthrough. Maybe the second. I don't remember. So... I need money. In real life and in this game. We seek the dinero. We will kill for the sake of collecting. So, I have... So for Gil and Autumn, if you're still there, I've started watching those shows that a few of the shows that you guys recommended. I haven't watched all of them. In fact, I've only watched one of them so far. But I have started to go through the list, and I'm actually writing a brief review of each of them as I watch them. So... I will be very prepared for next time we do this. That we do our weekly analysis, or weekly or bi-weekly analysis. I think what I'll probably end up doing with it, and this is just a, I mean, it's, you know, subject to change depending on what everybody feels like. But I'm thinking that I will probably create a structure for each week. And give us like time to prepare for each of the discussions well in advance. Without having to watch like reviews of said thing to prepare. Like something that I had to do to prepare for the Game of Thrones video is I had to watch a lot of reviews of Game of Thrones leading up to that season because of how, well, terrible it was, and I just couldn't really articulate how awful it was with using my own words, because I wasn't super fluent in the language of review and what reviewers were looking for. I couldn't put into words why I hated Game of Thrones Season 8 until I found some things that made me speak the language of what made it so bad. I think that a lot of people will talk about how bad Season 8 is, and they'll talk about, oh, the writing went downhill, or they'll talk about how the characters were not very well written, or how stupid things didn't make any sense. But there's a lot of examples of stuff like that in media or what have you, and you can let it slide because the theme of the thing that you're watching stays the same. I could not get past the 20-minute mark of episode 1, season 1. Read the books instead. Well, I think that the books and the show, it's hard to explain. There are definite issues with Game of Thrones that are fundamental to the show well before the show went off the rails. One of those things is something called sexposition, which is not sex position, it's exposition that would be interpreted as boring by audiences unless they put sexy things going on in the background. And that, to me, shows a fundamental lack of trust in your audience. Like, oh, these people are too dumb to be interested in a show for plot and dialogue. Blech. Who likes those things anyway? So what D&D did was they put a lot of, sexy ladies doing sexy things in the background of scenes that had more to do with a character who's talking, in order to get those things across in ways that would be less than basically. I agree. Things that would be less interesting to audiences. And they got away with it for a long time because, Game of Thrones is about, or I should say has lots of, or I should say A Song of Ice and Fire has lots of sex in it. So, it fits the theme of the show. Yeah, but they didn't, have dialogue during sex scenes. And also, the sex scenes aren't exactly what I'd call titillating. They're kind of weird, and honestly, I think they're probably one of the worst things about the books. It happens, but it doesn't... It happens sometimes, but honestly, I feel like the least interesting thing about the books is oftentimes the sex and stuff that goes on. So, hi, Mina, how are you? I need to... Oh, he'll heal me. There's that. There's also, more sensitive issues like the way that the show handles sexual assault. I'm not going to say anything more about that. But the problem with the show as it went along was that it really started to was that the interests, or lack thereof, of the showrunners started to bleed through. Have I watched Outlander? No, I've heard about it. I know the basic premise of it, but I don't know anything about it. I don't know what it's like, I should say. I know it's more or less about a woman in, I think, the 40s who gets transported back in time to the to early era of Scotland. I've heard it's pretty good, but I can't comment on it since I haven't seen it. And it's not like I think that having a sex scene in a show is inherently just awful and terrible or anything like that. It's that I think that David Benioff and D.B. Weiss assumed that that's what made people interested in the show. And honestly, one of the problems is that is what made some people interested in the show. So when they toned it, or I should say, so when they toned it down in later seasons, it was, for some people, they'd been hooked by the drama of the show by that point. And the show just continued to grow in popularity as it went along. Personally, I think that Game of Thrones had a pretty big problem with... It has like a fundamental issue with the way that it handles things that are more sensitive in nature. And then the real issue with it is that as the show got to its concluding stage, it really just showed how little D&D cared about anything. They didn't care that the show made them famous. They cared that it made them money. And they wanted to... They didn't care how it ended because, you know, it was going to sell like hotcakes anyway. So that's why I think, on a fundamental level, they put as little effort into the last season as possible, because they knew that they, you know, wouldn't be wasting any goodwill by doing so. You know, if you did that in the 5th season, okay, well, season 6 is gonna suck, so let's not watch season 6, and then they potentially lose their contract before the end of it. But if you put the minimum amount of effort into the last season of a show, it will suck and people will hate you, but, you know, in their minds, it's worth it. So, I don't mean to rant about Game of Thrones. What I mean to talk about is the nature of a good review was kind of lost on me because I hadn't really read a whole lot of reviews up to that point in my life. At least not in depth. Look at this guy. What do you like about Outlander? Because I don't know anything about it except the very most basic of basic premises. And I'm not looking for a new show, mind you, because I've got a billion shows I need to watch, in addition to the shows I need to watch for an actual review. So you like the history of it. What do you mean by that? Because do you like the historical fiction aspect of it and Scottish heritage? Okay. Well, I don't know very much about Scotland, except that it is technically a part of the British Empire. Oh, the map. But what I've been watching is Nichijou, which is one of the shows that Autumn put as one of his recommended shows. So I've basically said that, okay, I've got way too much stuff to do, including writing a D&D campaign, sensitive things. You know, I don't think there's anything wrong, by the way, with having sensitive topics like those in a show. It just has to be handled well, and I don't think Game of Thrones ever handled it particularly well. Arguably the only time they handled anything relatively well involving assault is the idea that Daenerys couldn't save somebody after it had happened to them. you didn't prevent it from happening. You're just trying to play savior. And as great as true as that is, I mean, it kind of is verbatim from the books, so it's not like even something they originally came up with. But yeah, I've been watching Nichijou, and I'm probably going to start watching some of the other shows. I started doing an episode by episode breakdown of Cowboy Bebop as well, but I'm limiting to any viewings I have of any show to 4 because I've got way too much stuff to do. If I ended up liking a show, maybe if I have time, I'll go back and rewatch and add some stuff on. But oh jeez, I'm not playing particularly well tonight. I need some money too. I'm still looking for money. That's why I haven't gone back to the Zora's Fountain. So I started I'm probably going to continue watching, or I should say move on to another show starting tomorrow. I don't know which one. The shows that were recommended to watch before the next viewing or the next one of our podcasts were Nichijou, Wagnaria, Snow White with the red hair. Who's that? And those are from Autumn. And Gil also recommended Mirai Nikki, The Future Diary. Outburst recommended Rarakamon and Miss Kobayashi's Dragon Maid, which I've heard that's the only one of these shows that I've actually heard a fair amount about. The others I've heard very little about at all, if anything. So it'll be interesting, and you will get to hear some of my thoughts on them if you care to. And if anybody has any suggestions on what other things to discuss later on in the show, or later on in the show, the podcast, just let us know, because we are kind of just winging it. I want to make sure that it's something that we all have a chance to get a good sampling of, like for instance, we were thinking about doing a review / discussion of not Game of Thrones, but what is it called? Lord of the Rings. So I started rewatching the Lord of the Rings trilogy. I've already read the first over-the-counter meds to get rid of these bubble blister things on my son's knee. Molluscum contagiosum. Let me look it up real quick if it is what you're saying it is, because I want to make sure. I want to make sure that it is. Did I give the correct recommendation real quick? Okay. Doc won't see him to treat it. Okay. Yeah, I've seen these before. management. For mild cases, over-the-counter wart medicines such as salicylic acid. It looks like it's a kind of wart. It's a viral infection. If it is if it is actually molluscum contagiosum. So they're called like water warts. I've seen them. I don't know a whole lot about them. Not by any means an expert on skin conditions. I know you're thinking like, what the heck? Why are you a pharmacist? Skin stuff never really interested me all that much. Where are you posting it? Because I can give you an answer as soon as I see the picture. There's also imiquimod, which I'm pretty sure is a prescription-only product. Same with cryosurgery or laser. Tretinoin is a possibility, but tretinoin is a prescription-only medication, so I can't recommend that. And how old is he, by the way? I think I would need to know that as well. I know he's I think he's kindergarten age, is that correct? Okay. Yeah, we are accepting pretty much any discussion topics out there. It can be a rant. Post it in IRL pics, I guess. If Psyche doesn't like it, she can take it down later. But I think IRL pics is probably the best place for it. We're kind of in the middle of... I'll put on the BRB screen so it's not... You're just looking at a boring still of a game. Yeah, we are open to suggestions because we kind of just wing it. I'm always yeah, it looks like a wart of some kind for sure. How old is he? Six, okay. For children. Since school ended, okay. And Doc won't see him. Small raised, usually lighter pink. So yeah, what I'd say is probably, first of all, know that I can't make a for sure recommendation based upon just a picture alone, but it seems pretty likely to me that he has some sort of wart, so a wart remover of some sort like a salicylic acid would probably help. That said, you want to make sure that that it is approved for your child before, because I don't have all the age recommendations for every over-the-counter medicine memorized. So you look at the label, see if it says it's okay for kids to use. If they say yeah, sure, it's okay for anyone under the age of 12, anyone from the ages of 2 to 12 to use it, go ahead and just use a small amount. But my guess would probably be salicylic acid would be a good choice if indeed it is a safe option and it is a ward of some sort. Yeah, so that's my rec. No problem. I always like to answer questions like that. I'm not an over-the-counter expert. I'm much more proficient in clinical stuff. I don't work in a hospital, but I do. It is what I like to do. It is what I would like to do in the future. Go away. So now we climb the Tower of Hera. It's a really interesting name for a tower in this game because the Greek gods and goddesses are not in any way affiliated with the Kingdom of Hyrule. So it makes you wonder why they chose a name of a decidedly Greek goddess. I honestly don't know. Maybe Hera is a totally different person in the context of this game. But I'm willing to bet money that it probably isn't. They probably lifted it from Greek mythology. Okay, so we continue our quest through the tower. I really hate these guys because they can hurt you, sure, but the main thing that annoys me about them is that they can knock you into a pit if you're not careful. And that will send you backwards and take more time. So I'm not a speedrunner, but if I were a speedrunner, I'd hate them even more. We're looking for something that will allow us to fall through and land on the other side of this pit. There we go. Moon Pearl is something you absolutely have to have as you go through the dungeons of this game, or I should say when you go to the Dark World. Otherwise, when you transport to the Dark World, you will be stuck there and transformed into a bunny forever. I should speedrun this game. Yeah, it's a fun one to speedrun. Something I've seen a lot of people do, you probably have seen it too, is people randomizing the items you get throughout the game. Since the game isn't as rigid as like later entries in the Zelda series, they can put an item, they can basically make it so that any item you get throughout the game can be put in a certain place, and then you'll be able to do things, just maybe not in the order that you're used to doing. So, I've never done a randomizer, but I've heard they're a lot of fun. Also, I guess I probably should have asked this before. Is my volume levels okay? Because I think this is like set to Psyche levels of loudness, and I am considerably less loud than my wife. Okay. Okay. This guy sucks. It's really not a tough boss at all, though. Yeah, it's not something I've done, but I've heard that it's a lot of fun because most people who play this game are pretty well familiar with the ins and outs of it because it's a classic and it's iconic. People still play it to this day. So deciding to, kick the wheels a bit, made people more interested in like seeing if it could be beaten a certain way, and how quickly can you beat it, how lucky do you have to be to speedrun it. I've seen a guy who pretty much exclusively speedruns the speedruns Link to the Past randomizers. His name is Big John, I think. I haven't watched his streams in a while, and he's a pretty big streamer. I think he has well over 100,000 followers. So, not a shout out because I haven't really paid a lot of attention to his streams, if I'm being honest with you. It's just a statement that he exists. Oh gosh. I am not doing well, okay? Oh god, no. This is probably the worst I've played this game in a long time. Part of that's because I'm talking constantly, and normally I'm pretty much glued to my screen. Yeah, but I don't know how to do it too hot. Maybe it's because I'm literally hot, and it's distracting me. It's the talking. So. Okay, so here we go. I think Psyche's probably asleep. She was trying. She's not, since she's not been feeling well. I have. Oh, there we go. Okay. Since she's not been feeling well, I think she probably turned in early. There we go. I'm also playing with the Joy-Cons, which, I don't hate the Joy-Cons by any means, but I vastly prefer the feel of a Pro controller. And my Joy-Cons have had, both sets have problems with drifting, so I am trying to avoid using them if at all possible. Yeah, I know it's sad. She's not felt well for a few days now, and I really hope she starts feeling better soon. Okay. I will probably take a break in a second. When I say a break, I mean like 2 seconds to go turn the heat down. I guess she is always listening. AC on, always listening. Thank you, Psyche. I appreciate it. Get some rest. I know you're not feeling great. Whew. Yeah, but tomorrow, not to self-promote too much, I guess really it's promoting Psyche's channel, because I'm not streaming it. I am DMing my very first session of the campaign. So what we did on Saturday was really more of a prologue than anything. So if you're like, well, what the heck was Saturday then? It's because Saturday was a prologue. The first session of the D&D campaign, well, it's not tomorrow, it's Thursday. I have my days messed up. Yeah, so Thursday I will be DMing my first session of the campaign, and I'll be spending most of tomorrow doing all of the necessary prep work for that. I already have a general idea of what's going on, but I'm gonna flesh it out some more tomorrow. I'll have pretty much all day to do that, so I'll be doing that pretty much all day. Hopefully this leads up the stairs to that piece of heart so I can leave Death Mountain. One of them, it is aptly named in this game. In other Zelda games, it's not really, there's lava, but it's really just a glorified volcano. In this game, there is an imminent threat of dying on a regular basis. So, I think it is the most deadly of all of the Zelda Death Mountains. Stupid falling rocks. So, yeah, I will be DMing that. If you haven't heard anything about it, you can, and you don't want to because you don't care about D&D or my campaign, you can mute the next 5 to 10 minutes or less. I don't know how long this will take. And I will basically, it is a homebrew campaign that I have created. In the campaign, we'll be having Psyche will be playing as a tiefling cleric. Swampy will be playing as a tiefling ranger, and they are siblings, or sisters, twin sisters. Pixie's husband, Bevan, will be playing, and he will be playing a half-orc fighter. Or, well, not really a fighter. It's kind of like a monk fighter hybrid. It's not an officially licensed class. It's called a pugilist. It basically takes the mysticism out of the monk and makes it into just a brawler type. Like if you ever played Fire Emblem Three Houses, the brawler class that basically just punches people with knifed fists, that's what this is. And he will be playing as that class. It is a homebrew class, but it's pretty well balanced from what I've seen. So even though it's a homebrew, I'm
sick, but we have standards here.
What standards?
Professionalism. Your thingy is showing.
My thingy?
Your thingy. Now if you leave it alone, it should go away. There you go. I'm gonna go pass out again. Bye.
If you ever want me to join, thank you. I can be. I would be interested in maybe doing some maybe doing some more, whatever you call them, one shots with more people in the community. I think that the setup for Saturday's one shot allowed for those particular characters to have a lot of. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. Like, Pugilist like a monk from Diablo 3. I've not played Diablo 3, so I can neither confirm nor deny that that is true. But it's like a... But I might be able to stage some more one-shots in the campaign setting, or just anywhere. I'm inherently biased towards my campaign setting because I've spent so much time working on it, but I mean, I'm open to many possibilities. Sleep is glorious, I'm sure. I haven't slept much of late. Okay, but yeah, I mean, I'm always open to spreading the love. The one-shots, I'm thinking about maybe doing some regular one-shots, like once every couple of weeks. Not necessarily as a permanent campaign fixture, but the group I did it with, it was streamed on Saturday if you want to watch the VOD. seem to really enjoy it. So they'll probably come back on as for like future not campaigns or like as maybe guests in the main campaign, or maybe in future one shots. So if anyone's interested in that, just let me know. I've never done this before, so I'm very. I've never DM'd anything before, so bear that in mind. Don't have super high expectations of me. I am very much a learner. So, teeth. Can I take my medicine now? The dextromethorphan and quifenicin. Okay, are you coughing? I got that for you because you said you wanted something with Mucinex in it, and that's the only form of liquid Mucinex I could find. It's Robitussin, so it's not really Mucinex, but it has the same ingredients. If you're not coughing up anything, I don't know how much it'll help you, but you can try it. I don't think it will help much, though. When did you take your last dose of Mucinex? Oh. Okay, so we're going back here. I'm looking for money. Bam. Put all this stuff in freaking Mucinex over the counter, like one. I mean, I guess you can take it. Just be aware that it's like not gonna help much because you're not coughing up mucus. I don't think that your problem is mucus. I don't know what your problem is, but mucus doesn't generally irritate the throat. It could be nasal drainage. It could also be strep throat. I don't know. You're not running a fever, so strep throat seems less likely to me. This effer. Come on! Die. Feels like drainage. If it's drainage, it's probably something from your sinuses trying to find its way out. Which means that it's probably not mucus. It's probably fluid buildup. You could try Flonase to see if it helps. It's not going to work immediately, though. 99's high, but it could have just been a fluke. By definition, a fever has to be over 100 degrees. Otherwise, it's not going to be considered a fever by anybody. Okay. So, I don't know exactly what's going on, and I can't really tell you exactly what's going on. It reads to me like it might be a cold, maybe a cold with allergy symptoms, maybe strep throat. The reason why I'm like skeptical of it being strep throat is that it's generally it usually has systemic symptoms like a fever, and usually there will also be fatigue and malaise. I'm not in your body, so I can't tell you, but you haven't seemed terribly fatigued to me, so it seems to me like it's a cold. I don't know. But again, I'm not going to tell you what you have because, first of all, I'm not a doctor, and second of all, even if I was a doctor, only you can really tell, only you really actually know how you feel, so. Balls. These guys suck. I think regardless, the best thing you can do for yourself is get some sleep. Oh, man. S? Only you can prevent forest fires. I don't know what that means. I know what it means, but I don't know what it means. So, in context. Louis, stop. You're being a baby. I didn't know you were in here.
I can't open my medicine. Will you help me?
Bring it to me.
I hate being sick and I can't talk too much.
I know.
I hate it.
I know you do.
I hate it so much.
I hate it for you too. Okay.
Do you need scissors?
If I needed scissors, you could open it.
That's true. Thank you, baby.
You're welcome.
Hi.
Hey, Stella. You wake up? Eh. She being a gremlin now. She'll feel better. Hopefully soon. If not, we might have to take her to the doctor. I don't want it to have to come to that, but if it's a bug, then if it's a bacterial infection, I mean, it'll have to be dealt with one way or the other. But at the same time, doctors way overprescribe antibiotics. So it's kind of like, if it is a bacterial infection, yes, it should be treated with antibiotics. But I mean, like here, like half the time a doctor prescribes an antibiotic, it is not appropriate. I think it's more than half the time. Like, I had a cold one time, and I didn't want to go to the doctor because I knew it was a cold. But someone insisted I go, and they gave me a drug that doesn't even work for 90% of bacterial infections in the lungs. So it didn't even help. It was stupid. It was a waste of money, and it was a waste of a potential antibiotic that someone might have actually needed. So I am always skeptical of using antibiotics, and I hope to avoid using them in general. Ear infections, yes, generally speaking, they are at least partially caused by bacteria. So you need to use antibiotics. Colds are never, ever caused by bacteria. By definition, they are caused by common cold viruses like rhinovirus and certain kinds of coronavirus. Not all kinds of coronavirus cause the common cold. This particular one we're dealing with causes something a lot worse than the common cold. So don't hear me saying that coronaviruses cause the cold, and therefore this is not that big of a deal. No, that is not what I'm saying. Please don't ever hear me say that, because it's not true. So, yeah, we don't give medical advice. Please don't sue. Blah blah blah. Any advice I give is like based off of very limited knowledge of what's actually going on. It's sheerly recommendations. I more or less can just point you in the right direction. If you ask me a question about anything medical related, I can't make real serious judgment calls through nothing but pictures and text. So. The biggest recommendation I can make for any drug at all is to never ever use it for anything besides the labeled package instructions if you're using it over the counter. If a doctor prescribes you something that's not for its labeled use, fine. Or if, you know, it's not labeled, but it's a well-known off-label use, fine. But if it is, without knowing the situation, I can't make any recommendations that aren't labeled on the bottle specifically. So when Mina asked about, you know, molluscum contagiosum, I said, well, I mean, it could be that, but you want to make sure that if it is that, your doctor thinks it's okay first. And that it's appropriate for that age group. So, I have 5 rupees. Wondering why I'm coughing. It's not because I have coronavirus. It's because I'm not used to talking this much unabated. Unabated isn't the right word. Without cease. I usually, in the last few weeks, I very seldom stream on my own. I'm usually streaming with some sort of cohort or something. This is the first time in a long time that I've actually streamed completely by myself. So my voice is not used to the constant wear and tear. At work, I generally speaking don't talk all that much. So. Oh, hello. I won't be dropping that again, lady. Okay, so wop, 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 wop. So, gosh, no, I don't want to throw that in there. The reason I'm doing this is because certain items, when you there's 2 items that you can throw into this pond that will change if they're thrown in. One of them is the shield, and one of them is the boomerang. Later on in the game, there's another fairy fountain that does the same thing, but it turns the arrows into silver arrows, and the sword, if it's already level 3, the Master Sword into level 4 Master Sword, which is the most powerful sword in the game. Oh, jeez. Oh, jeez. Can't believe I'm dying. So a bunch of scrubs. Couldn't really think of where I was going with that. Okay, so we're now going to go into this hut and meet this weird-looking young woman. She will heal us, and then we will go into the Lost Woods to find La Master Sword. And that's what we'll probably call this for the night, although I will continue playing something else. I intend to stream for the full 3 hours, but getting the Master Swords is a good place to end a block as anything, because it is key item for Zelda games, period. I'm really hoping, by the way, that they port over the Ocarina of Time over to the Switch. And what I mean by that is not the original Ocarina of Time, but they remaster it. Because I'll be honest with you, it has not graphically aged nearly as well as this game or Wind Waker. So here we go into the Lost Woods. No, there's probably people out there who have strong opinions on that. They're like, no, don't remaster it. I think it needs a good solid remaster. And I think that remastering the soundtrack also, it sounds really good for a MIDI track, but I think it would be better with like a full orchestra. The 3DS remake is really solid, although it is pretty much just a straight remake. Huh? Did I not get the... Oh gosh. Okay. So we're going back to the... Wow. How did that happen? I guess I didn't actually end up getting the... I did not end up getting the... whatever you call it. Pendant of Wisdom after completing... Well, I don't know if I completed the second dungeon. I just got the mitt. The Power Glove. And whatever I did in the last save file, I saved to a save state. Or I should say a save state. Which I can't use if I want to save that I got this last item. Which would set me back farther than if I had not done that. So, I thought that I'd gotten all that I needed. I was wrong. I was a fool. So, we will just run through that really quickly, then get the Master Sword, then quit this game. But yeah, I think that there's been talk about remastering the Mario games. I think they need it more than Zelda, than Ocarina does, because they've never remade Ocarina. They've never remade not Wind Waker. They never remade, what was it called? Mario Sunshine. They never remade that. It is still the GameCube version is the only version that they have to date. It desperately needs to be remade because it's something I think a lot of people missed out on and kind of overlooked. It wasn't the best Mario game, but it was really, really pretty. And it was definitely a different take on Mario. I'd like to see re-experience it for the first time in a long time. Okay, so here we go. Redo this stupid thing. Blah, blah, blah. Dancing light thing, whatever. Freaking go into the temple already, you schmuck. so here we go. Just fast track it, get out of here as quickly as possible. So this is the first real themed dungeon in a Zelda game that I know of. They might have had some in Zelda 2, but Zelda 2 is a game that I am scared to play. So if it is in Zelda 2, I would not know. I may never know, because Zelda 2 is notoriously difficult. I played through Zelda 1 and it was hard. Zelda 2 is something else. It's arguably one of the toughest games ever made. So I won't be playing it for a while, if I ever play. Okay. So, here we go. Into the heart of the dungeon. Boom. Okay, that was the key to getting out of here. Louie, I'll let you out in a minute. But I am trying to complete this dungeon as quickly as possible because I thought that I'd already beaten it. I don't want to waste any time doing it. Okay, here I am. Okay, probably some... I want to avoid spending any time in these... Oh my gosh, these traps suck. I've got all 3 cats in here. There we go. Stop it! Okay, so here we go. Part 2. So yeah, I'm not the best in the world at this game. It's one of my favorite games. That doesn't mean I'm an expert at it or that I'm good at it. It just means that I'm better than Psyche. Which is to say, not terrible. And she should be asleep, so... If she makes commentary, I'll know that she is not doing what she's supposed to be doing. Haha, by the way. Of course. I knew it. She can't just go to sleep like she's supposed to. Yeah, sure. I believe you. I'll believe you for a second. I was lying when I said I believed you. Let's see. Go through this door. That should be all I need. Yeah. Woo! These guys are fun. Here we go. Oh my gosh. That guy beat me up. For realio. I should have save stated before I fought the boss. I've got to go through this whole freaking dungeon again. Yes, T for teeth. Here I go. Yeah, these monsters for some reason drop a lot of money. I don't know why, they look like just tentacles. But they have a strong tendency to leave behind cash. So if you're short on it, they're your guys. Man, you want to get with these folks. Okay, this taught me a lesson, a valuable one. We're going to create a suspend spot. We're going to save over this one because it's worthless now. We all know that if you tell Psyche to go to sleep that she won't. Autumn and I know this from experience. When we were doing the 24-hour stream, like, Psyche, you have to like stay up forever. You're up longer than anybody else in this block. After we do the after Outburst does his speed run of Celeste, you're gonna be on stream for the entire rest of it. So you need to get some sleep. And she kept defying orders. So you know, we should probably tell her, just do whatever, yo, and whatever floats your boat, man. And then she would probably be more inclined to listen to us. Okay, I think I'm doing better this time. I'm definitely not doing worse. They're driving me nuts, though. I'm surprised it's taken this long to kill even one of them. I'm still not anywhere near. Something I forgot to do that would have saved me some trouble. These guys are a lot easier to kill with the whatever you call it, the ice rod, which I have neglected to collect up to this point. Teeth, it is currently 4:20 for me. How do you feel about this? I cannot condone you blazing it since you are a young boy. But yes, it is 4:20. It do be that way. The Pendant of Wisdom. Oh yeah, this is before they switched the power pendant with the wisdom pendant, so blue is associated with power, even though, you know, red is probably a stronger, more emotional color. So I don't really know why they went with that. It's also a color that is more strongly associated with Ganondorf, although not Ganon. Streams do not condone smoking weed, but only if you're underage. Well, I can't condone smoking weed in general, but I definitely can't condone it if you're underage. So, what I was saying is, I guess like in the older games, it was blue was more associated with Ganon, and red, being closer to pink, was more associated with Zelda. Blue was more associated with Ganon because in the older games, Ganon was usually blue. In later games, Ganondorf had red, fiery hair. So almost all incarnations of him have some sort of redness to them after A Link to the Past. I mean, after Ocarina. Not all incarnations, though. Because there is any of them that take place with the same hero as A Link to the Past, or a successor to him, as in A Link Between Worlds. Ganon is blue also. But, well, I'll leave a lurk, but back to anime. Enjoy the rest of your stream. Thank you, Hummy. I appreciate it. But yeah, there are, he is a more often associated with blue in the older games, but in the newer games, he tends to be associated with red. So that probably explains why blue is the pendant color of power in this game because it's a color associated with Ganon. Courage is associated with Link, thus its greenness. And pink is red is the closest thing that there is to pink. So, don't need a mushroom. Red's the closest thing there is to pink, so pink is color of. So red is the color of wisdom in this. And here we go. Get the sword. Whew! We banished the darkness. Booty cheeks! It is extraordinary that you have won the Master Sword that makes evil retreat. With this shining sword, I believe you can deflect the wizard's evil powers. The destiny of this land is in your hands. Please, booty cheeks. Can I end at 11? Need to talk about doctor stuff. I suppose I can, if you'd like to. Okay. Okay, I'm not ending the stream, guys. I am getting some refreshments, and I'll be right back. There's nobody watching. Okay. switching to Breath of the Wild for the last 30 minutes or so. Change the title to reflect that. There we go. Okay. So we have teleported. We are no longer in the mountainous regions of, what do we call it? Necluda. We are in the Farum region. You know, the tropical paradise of the Lurelin village. Oh, there it is. Oh gosh. So here we go on to the Yarin Shrine. I don't remember what this one is. I don't remember what most of them are. I remember bits and pieces of all of them, but I don't remember the specifics of most of them. If it's a combat shrine, I'll be unhappy. And it's not. So. Okay. The obvious answer to this is just, you know, what I'm doing here. But you could choose a number of different things to do. You could probably use any number of objects that are magnetic to float over there, see if any of them equal your weight, and then some to outweigh you, and therefore move the balance of the scales. So we're going to parry this mofo, or just hit him a few times. It's probably easier. Let's see which weapon is the least valuable. I always like to keep these sledgehammers because they are good for breaking rocks, especially in areas where you are likely to lose them. So even though it's close to death, I probably won't get rid of it. Same with the Korok leaf. Always, always, always useful. You can use it to fling enemies off of cliffs. So I usually will hold on to one, even though it is not particularly good at damaging itself. Just 1 second, guys. Luis, Go. Louis. Okay. Because even at extremely high levels, moblins and bokoblins cannot swim. So, you can use their lack of swimming ability to endanger the lives of those around you. Okay, I don't need another one of these, but I also desperately need to have my inventory here. Yeah, it's not a fever, and it was a single blip on the radar, so it's really hard to make any judgments off of that. I've taken my temperature once, and it was like that level, then it went back to down to 97. Taking your temperature once is never a good indicator unless it's a really high temperature. So So, also bear in mind that it might be lower than it was earlier because you have since taken ibuprofen, which is an antipyretic. Therefore, it is likely to reduce your fever if you have one. So, I can't really say that you do or do not have a fever. But when you took the temperature, you hadn't taken it. You hadn't taken the ibuprofen, so I think it's fair to say that's closer to what your temperature actually is. So fix the screen thingy. Sorry. I'm not as professional as you. I apologize. Don't know why it's not. Maybe that'll help. Okay. Okay. Whoa. Well, I already said it, so it's too late. Balls. That didn't work. Okay. So we're going to have to use this over here. We'll use this. Here. Then we'll put it back up here. And we will be able to access that without much trouble. Yay, opal. Opal. No, I don't want to do that. Oh gosh, why did I do this to myself? I've got to go back through all these dumb motions. So I don't know if you were here for this, Autumn, but I did watch one of the shows you recommended, the first 4 episodes of it. So I will. We hopefully will be able to, assuming we don't have plans that conflict with it. That's when I'm watching the Chitna season. I don't know why you guys put yourselves through this. Hopefully, our schedules will work out to where we can fulfill this end of the bargain. Maybe continue this in the future. Watching. I have a book club of sorts. Guys like, look at my hands. Louis peed? What? Where'd he pee? It's 2 clean litter boxes. What's his deal? Why does he do this to us? Where in our bedroom? Like, on the floor? Or what? No! Those are clean clothes! Can we like do a bladder removal surgery? I'm tired of this. He pees on everything. They smelled like mommy, so he decided to pee on them. That makes sense. That tracks. Fisherman's shield. Fishermen have shields, you see. Ugh. He's like 3 or 4. He's too old for this, I'll tell you that much. He's not like a kitten or anything. Like, I don't get it. The litter box, the cats aren't like guarding the litter box or anything, not that I've seen. And if they did, I don't know why they'd suddenly start doing it. Because they've never done it before. So, he's just... He does this BS all the time. Tony throws up everywhere. Stella's the only good one. You're not allowed in here, Louie. If you pee on stuff, you're banished from this room forever. So, you cannot pee on this computer under any circumstances. So, I don't like that. Okay. There isn't like a whole lot to do in this town. Most of it happens like during the daytime hours, so whatever is here to be done happens during daytime hours. So what I'm gonna do is I'm going to go sleep in the fluffy bed in the inn, which will give me an extra heart, and maybe there'll be more stuff to do when I wake up. No, no, back out. Aye. So, sleeping in the fluffy bed gives you an extra heart. A temporary heart, so if you lose it, it's gone, but still a nice thing to have. Sure. I won't be able to do that until I locate all of the things that help me to see. Oh, something else I hadn't really noticed, but I saw like on an article in this game, is that this area is very likely based on Outset Island from Wind Waker. If you compare the geography, this overlook, I think there's a lot of seagulls here too. It's very likely that this is something of a version of Outset Island. Just like there's a ranch that is very likely the ruins of the Lon Lon Ranch from Ocarina. Wake up, you sleepy turd. Fine. You want something done right, you gotta do it yourself. So we're going to pass the time until noon. Find a fire. I'm going to sit until noon. Oh, I think chat's frozen because I haven't been, because apparently that's going on, and I have not. There are discussions happening in this chat, and I'm not seeing any of them because, well, reasons. I don't know why it was doing that. So if you have anything to ask me, say it again because I didn't see it. Stream chat is far less consistent here than it has been elsewhere. If you don't, that's fine too. Why don't you go check it out, mister? Yeah, I have to refresh all the time. I've noticed. It's really dumb. I don't know why this supposedly better internet has problems, so many problems with the internet, internet. It shouldn't have any, or very few. Yeah, tell me about the ocean. There's a golden triangle somewhere. And also, Eventide Island. Oh. So let's go fishing. Link has use of tools that the average fisherman does not, namely bombs. Which makes fishing a whole lot easier. Sebasto. Oh, hello, kid. Show me the way to the ruins. I will follow you. Oh, it's doing that thing again. Oh, balls. There he is. Yeah, something that really goes unnoticed about this game, when you hear discussions about it, is the sound design. Every single thing that makes noise in this game has a unique sound to it. It seems, anyway. Walking through grass sounds different than walking through dirt. Sounds different than walking up a stony hill. And being in certain locations gives rise to different ambient noises. Hey kid, if we're almost here, just go. I think that's one of the reasons why they chose to go with a less in-your-face musical arrangement. Some people don't like that, but I think it works in this game because there's a very prevailing sense of quiet that emerges as you play through the game. It's a very deeply personal adventure. So a lot of the sounds are sounds and emotions that you feel. The game doesn't want to dictate them to you. Thanks, good. Bye. Okay. Stella, if you want to sit down, go ahead. Dude, I don't know how to help you. Why? Why are you the way you are? No, don't do that. Don't do that. I don't know what you're supposed to do here. I forget. There is a mission that takes place, but I don't know what you do to trigger it, because it's been a very long time since I've done this mission. This shrine quest. Yeah, she sasses me a lot. She's a very sassy animal, especially towards me. Yeah. I think one of the reasons that they chose to make the music less in your face is that as you adventure throughout the world, they don't want to tell you what emotions to feel through the music. They want the music to kind of just be there as a placeholder, something to be there to kind of fill the emptiness of the world, but also allow the emptiness to kind of just be. One of the things that's key about this game is that it's very much a personal adventure. A lot of people don't like the aimlessness of it. I think that really comes down to personal taste, because ultimately there's nothing inherently wrong with it. If you don't like it, that's fine, but it's really more of an issue of preference than an issue of quality. And one of the problems I think a lot of more modern Zelda games have is that, or Zelda games post The Legend of Zelda, is that they really sacrifice the idea of openness. And this is including games that I really like again, A Link to the Past is probably my second favorite game ever, but it very much is not an open world game. So the game has, or I should say, so Breath of the Wild is a letter written in contrast to the standard Zelda formula. And how the heck is there an acorn out here? There's not an oak tree for miles. Something that I noticed about the box art for this game was that, at least with the American box art, I can't speak for the Japanese or the European box art, because I know for a fact that the European version of the game has a very, very different box art. If you look at it, of course, it needs to have the main character of the game in it. Otherwise, people won't really know what the game's about or what you do in the game, who you control. Who you play as. But as opposed to with almost all Zelda games, released since Ocarina, They do not have Link facing the point of view of the artist. Facing you, the observer. Almost all Zelda games up to this point, Ocarina was the last one I think to have the kind of opposite of this be the case. But most Zelda games have the most Zelda games have Link facing toward the front of from the perspective of the viewer, the consumer, the whatever you want to call them. Breath of the Wild took a very different approach to how they frame the game. Link doesn't face the consumer in the box art. He's facing the world. So what I think that's trying to communicate is a de-emphasization of the character of Link, and an intensifying the emphasization. Is emphasization a word? I feel like it is. Of the world itself. Hey Mitchie, how are you? I'm about to end this stream in 4 minutes, but in the meantime, I am playing this game and trying to get as much done as possible. Am I sick? I don't think so. I'm just talking a lot. I feel fine. I have allergies too. Being in this part of the country or the state is different. I never had issues around my alma mater. And since we moved away from there during the springtime, or I should say springtime months, it's been a bit different. Oh, you douchebag. I was gonna leave you alone. Okay. Okay. I'm going to do this one thing and then I'm probably going to call it quits because I will not have time to finish anything else. But what I was saying is, in the world, it definitely feels as though in the context of Breath of the Wild, it definitely feels like the world has been emphasized. The character of Link has been de-emphasized. And the reason for that, I think, is primarily not to say Link doesn't matter or anything, because I think that there is kind of a whatever you call it. There is definitely an undercurrent to Link's character that runs through the game. I think that it is definitely not as big of a deal in this game as it is in other Zelda games. So, there it is. And this will probably be the last thing we have time to do. Wow, right on time. Okay. So I think with that, we're going to end it. It's always a pleasure to stream with you guys. I hope you had fun watching me play games that I like playing. And with that, I think that we will call it quits. So thank you so much for everybody showing up. This is Teeth Whitener streaming on behalf of PsycheSiren. Hopefully I will not have to stream on her behalf too much, and she will be feeling right as rain sooner rather than later. Until then, see you guys. Hope you have a great night. This is Teeth Whitener signing off. Bye.